Hello, today we will look into Architecture Repository AR. Once a king decided to modernize his kingdom. To do that, he built a grand library where all knowledge about the kingdom's past, present, and future would be stored. Not his kingdom alone, he took reference from all other kingdoms as well. This grand library is like the architecture repository in TOGAF. It has multiple sections in it. For example, if you see the dictionary room, the dictionary room can be mapped with the architecture metamodel of architecture repository. This room holds the rules of the language used in the kingdom. It defines all the jargons that are used in the architecture. Just like a dictionary defines words, this section defines the terms, relationships, and structure of the architecture work. Architecture capability, the Guild of Architects. Here are here are manuals on how architects will work, the role of the architects, which tools they are going to use, and what methods are they going to perform to build the architecture. It ensures that whoever builds know the rules of the game. So all the architects will follow the same strategy, same book, and play the same game so that the consistency is maintained. The architecture landscape. The architecture landscape is nothing but the maps room. It will show where a park is located, or how park should be built, or how a temple should be built, or how a castle should be built. So all that, how to build and where it is located, that will be there on the maps, right? So in the same way, architecture like landscape will have all the material that can be used to build the strategic view, segment view, and capability view. So all kinds of views can be built by the architecture landscape. The rules, the rule scrolls. The rule scrolls is, it will have rules and laws, how buildings must be constructed, what measurements to use, and which materials are acceptable. So this can be related to the standards information base where all the standards would be located. The ancient scrolls. The ancient scrolls can be related to the reference library, where the old battle strategies, farming techniques, and trade practices from the from within the kingdom and from other kingdoms. So it doesn't belong to one kingdom. It doesn't belong to one enterprise. It can be used for multiple kingdoms or multiple uh, enterprises. So the rules that are created now will be part of the ancient scrolls in the future. The governance log. The king's judgment book is related is can be related to the governance log, a book recording decisions which 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 shows all the proposals that are approved, that are rejected, why they are approved and why they are rejected. All that accountability and transparency will be provided here. And architecture requirements repository, where the stakeholders come and put in their requests to build the architecture. So that can be related to the people's petition box, where all the petitions from the citizens will be dropped. Now let us see how the architecture repository looks. Like we said, the dictionary room, this is the architecture meta model. It defines the terms, relationships, and everything. So, and then that would be passed on to the architecture landscape. Whenever the strategic architectures or segment and capability architectures are formed, they will be taking the help of architecture meta model in defining the things. And the reference library is something which will have all the past, present, and then whatever decisions or whatever architectures we make now, those are all become reusable in the future, and that will be part of reference library. So for now we will be referring for the all old existing architectures from here, and then we will be using to build the architecture landscape. Standards information base is the where the rules are all principles rules are all defined, and that would be useful again in building the architecture landscape. It will become the best practices for that. And then the governance log will have the decision logs that are made, the architecture decisions, the trade-offs, And then the compliance assessment. We have built the architecture. Now we have assessed it, whether it is complying to what we wanted, and the capability assessments, whether we have the right people in right place to build the architecture, whether the performance is measured properly, and whether the portfolio is formed properly, or how is the calendar, how are the deadlines, how are the milestones. Everything will be part of the governance log. And the architecture capability is the skills repository, the organization, how the organization structure is, and how we are maintaining it is all the architecture capability. And then the architecture requirement repository, where the strategic requirements or segmental or capability requirements, all the requirements, this is like a petition box where all the uh, complaints will be fallen into, all the requirements will be falling into architecture requirements repository. So by basing this and using architecture landscape with the help of all other components in the architecture repository, the solutions landscape is formed. And then these are all the internal to the architecture repository, but there are few other things which are a part of, which are out, out outside the scope of architecture repository. They are external reference model, like getting trade practices or the architectures from other kingdoms. So this is like some other reference materials which are outside available. And then the external standards, in the same way the rules that are applied in other kingdom or in other enterprises which are beneficial, those. And then the architecture board. The architecture board is the one which will be overseeing all the governance log and the capability how the organization is managing. Hope this is clear. So the one-on-one, which we saw in both diagrams, images, the dictionary is architecture metamodel, and the wheel of architects with manuals is the architecture capability. Maps of the kingdom, current, future is the architectural landscape, and the scroll of rules is the standards information base. This is one of the rules: bridges must carry 100 wagons. Markets need fire exits. So they are making some principles and some rules there. Ancient scrolls from other kingdoms are reference library. The King's Judgment Book is the governance log. The People's Petition Box is the architecture requirements repository. Now let us look into benefits of architecture repository. Single source of truth. It provides a central, trusted place for all architectural knowledge, avoiding duplication and confusion. Consistency across projects. It ensures all teams use the same standards, definitions, and templates, leading to consistent designs. Reusability of assets. Reference models, building blocks, and best practices can be reused, reducing effort and cost. Supports traceability. Links requirement, designs, decisions, implementations, making it easier to track why something was built. Facilitates governance and compliance, provides auditable records of architectural decisions, ensuring compliance with policies and regulations. It improves collaborations, acts as a shared knowledge base, so business stakeholders, architects, and IT teams can work together effectively. Supports change management, helps analyze the impact of changes by comparing current versus future landscapes. Knowledge retention captures institutional memory, so when people leave, the organization doesn't lose critical architectural knowledge. Accelerates decision making. With structured information available, leaders can make faster, evidence based strategic choices. Enables continuous improvement, provides a feedback loop by recording lessons learned, helps refine the future architectures. I have mentioned the playlist of all TOGAF Enterprise Architecture related videos in the descriptions. If you are preparing for TOGAF or want to learn more on enterprise architecture, it will be definitely helpful. I'm trying to depict enterprise architecture concepts with the real time things in my best possible way. When you go through them, if you are interested in any other concepts, leave me a comment. If you have reached to this section of my video, I would assume this interests you. So please like and subscribe this channel. Thanks for watching.